Welcome in one and all to the Boston Celtics Newsfeed powered by CLNS Media. I'm Mike Walsh, manager of the Newsfeed, and I would like to introduce you to day one of our 2017-18 NBA preview. We'll be going day by day in alphabetical order, releasing a new team preview each day, leading up to opening night, October 17th in Cleveland. Each of these preview podcasts will be accompanied by an outline blog post on our site, that's clnsradio.com. I will regularly be speaking with a member of our team of writers and podcasters to help give in-depth analysis of the offseason each of the NBA's 30 teams recently competed, and how that will help them contend with the Boston Celtics this season. Without further ado, let's get into day one with the Atlanta Hawks, previewed by myself. Much like the Celtics, this Hawks offseason has been a real doozy, though not in the good way that Boston's has. The Hawks finished last season at 53-49, real quick, earning the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. During the year, they defeated Boston twice, including a 16-point drubbing at TD Garden. Isaiah Thomas had an off night then, 4 of 21. Dennis Schroeder ran all over the place, and they got into some heated combat. In the playoffs, the Hawks fell back 2-0 to number 4 Washington. They tied things up 2-2, though, with wins in games 3 and 4. But the Washington Wizards, as we know, won out there in 6 games. They won games 5 and 6, and went on to play the Celtics to 7 games in the Eastern Conference semifinals. The offseason for the Hawks has been kind of a mass exodus of sorts, and really it started during the season with the Kyle Korver trade. They send him to Cleveland. They bring back Mike Dunleavy and Mo Williams, and people are like, okay, are they tanking now? Are they not? And then they go on and finish in the middle of the Eastern Conference playoff pack. But both Dunleavy and Mo Williams are gone, so they have, at the moment, nothing to show for the Kyle Korver trade. Dwight Howard, who was a big part of their offseason last year, bringing him in, he spends 1 year with the team, and he is traded this offseason. A pretty solid season. He had 13.5 points, 12.7 rebounds, 2 blocks a game, played about 30 minutes a night for the Hawks, but they send him to Charlotte, so we'll get to him in a few days when we do our Charlotte Hornets preview. In exchange, they bring in Marco Bellinelli, Miles Plumlee, and the 41st pick. They also sent the number 31 overall pick to Charlotte. Next was a really strange situation with Tim Hardaway Jr., restricted free agent. Hardaway went out, and the New York Knicks just blew him away with an offer and challenged Atlanta to match it, and there was no chance the Hawks were going to match 4 years, $71 million for Tim Hardaway Jr., 14.5 points per game last season. He's gone as well. And then, of course, the biggest part of this exodus, Paul Millsap, longtime Atlanta Hawk, longtime Utah Jazz, just a longtime NBA player, heavy veteran here, had over 18 points per game, 7.7 rebounds a night, free agent this summer, 1-2 with Gordon Hayward, depending, Hayward's a little younger, so probably a little more of a desirable free agent, but they were the top 2 names this summer on the market, and he signs in Denver with the Nuggets, so again, we'll get to him when we get to the Nuggets version of this preview. Nuggets are going to be shelling out, though, $30 million a year over the next 3 years for Millsap. So, in terms of who's back for the Hawks, it's not a whole lot. Dennis Schroeder is, I think, the only guy in their top maybe 5-6 players from last season. Schroeder's back. They went out, they got John Collins in the draft at number 19 overall. He had a pretty solid summer league, which looked really good for them. Tyler Dorsey also at number 41, Alpha Kaba number 60. That was their draft recap. Both Collins and Dorsey signed NBA contracts, and then they went out and just sort of filled in some veterans, none of which are going to move the needle much. Ersan Ilyasova, they bring him back 1 year, $6 million. Dwayne Dedmon, 2 years, $14 million. Mike Muscala back 2 years, $10 million. Luke Babbitt signs a 1 year deal, just under $2 million for him. So the depth chart in Atlanta, not very strong, outside of Dennis Schroeder. They do have some young guys who you like to see, I guess. Nothing popping yet, but DeAndre Bembry, Taurean Prince are guys that can play in this league and could potentially blow up in the near future. But beyond that, it's just Schroeder. Schroeder's still a young, talented point guard, turns just 24 this month. He's sort of improved each year, averaged 18 and 6 last season, shot 45% from the floor, 34% from 3. They have him under contract for quite a while through 2021 at a reasonable $15 million a year. But that projected starting 5, I have Dennis Schroeder, Kent Bazemore at the 2, Bembry, young guy, small forward, Ersan Ilyasova, Dwayne Dedmon in the front court. Just not much going on here this year. They're going to, I think, try to bottom out, maybe compete with Brooklyn, maybe Orlando. I don't know who else drops out. I don't see them making a lot of moves coming up. Obviously, what Travis Schlenk has done since he took over, and that was really their big addition over the last year, is bringing him over from the Warriors. They just don't have a lot of moves to make, and I'm not sure they want to make moves. I don't know how much more you want to try to get to the middle. The Hawks have been sort of that team, that poster child for being in the middle for so many years, and obviously a couple years ago they did win, 60-plus games, but unable to really make anything out of it in the playoffs, and they are kind of locked in now to Miles Plumlee, which kind of stinks. He's making $12.5 million through 2020, so that's not good, and he doesn't, have the on-court presence to warrant that. Fantasy football is back, but if you got stuck somewhere on the night of your league's draft and wound up with a team chock full of nobodies, like yours truly, the full-length season can be a chore, and I'm realizing that now. So why not try out FanDuel? I just picked it up this season, and I've got to tell you, FanDuel is great. It's super easy, no long-term commitments, and you can pick your team when you want. And as an added bonus for you Newsfeed listeners, we've got a promo code so you can try out FanDuel for yourself. Go to FanDuel.com and click the Join Now button. Use the code CelticsBeat to try FanDuel for free with no deposit required. You can even join one of our CLNS Media Listener Leagues and compete against us. I recommend FanDuel.com/CeltsRoundtable. That's FanDuel.com/CeltsRoundtable. That's the Newsfeed Listener League. You can pick a team against myself, Evan Valenti, Matt Ignall, any of our Newsfeed personalities or Roundtable guys. Visit FanDuel.com to claim your free contest and play for a share of 10 G's. This is real, guys. $10,000. Just sign up using the promo code CelticsBeat. That's FanDuel.com, promo code CelticsBeat, void where prohibited. So, as for how they're going to contend with the Celtics, it's not going to be much of a matchup, in my opinion. Obviously, in recent years, it's been pretty intense. I would say there's somewhat of a rivalry there, especially you look back at Isaiah Thomas and Dennis Schroeder and everything they got into. And obviously Al Horford coming to Boston from Atlanta. So you have some of that stuff there. Him viewing maybe Dwight Howard as his replacement, and that's why he wanted to get out of there. All that stuff is kind of gone now. Howard's gone. Isaiah Thomas is gone. Kyrie Irving's in. Probably doesn't have nearly the same bad blood with Schroeder. And I just feel like the juice from this would-be rivalry is kind of gone. I do think the Celtics should take care of business against the Hawks. Schroeder is going to be a difficult cover without Bradley around, but you look at what Marcus Smart's done this offseason, hopefully shedding that weight will get him a little quicker, be able to hang with him if he needs to. Otherwise, Kyrie Irving, a little bit bigger, can maybe contend with Schroeder a little better than Isaiah could last season, or really for the last few seasons. In the front court, the Hawks don't have really the bodies or the talent, the high-level talent to contend with Gordon Hayward. They'll have some young athletes that can throw at him, but Hayward has, I think, the experience scoring the basketball now to get around that. And obviously Al Horford should have a little bit more fun playing his old squad. Rebounding was a big problem in this series in these matchups last year with Millsap and Howard, obviously, but those guys are now replaced by Ilyasova, Dedmon, maybe Collins, a young guy in there. Horford should have his way with his old squad now, a little more than he could in last season with Millsap and Howard over there. As far as which direction the Hawks are trending in, you have to be a little bit concerned. If you're a Hawks fan, they have drafted pretty well, but they've just been drafting in the middle of that first round for so long now, middle to late first round, because they've been a playoff team for a lot of years. Now it's going to be that real test. They have Schroeder locked up, so that they don't have to move him. They can play with him. They can, even if they bottom out this year, they are going to Travis Schlenk, looking to get that next star you can pair with Schroeder, and then you really have something. But you only have, the next couple seasons to get that guy. I don't know if you can maybe get a couple of picks and then package them with some of your other young guys to get somebody in. But there's some avenues to go. It's just it's a small window for them to pair Schroeder with somebody and not burn through a couple more years of Schroeder under a good contract. Hopefully for Hawks fans, they'll get that high pick this coming season. They can nail that one. He'll go along with John Collins, who looks excellent. Again, Taurean Prince, DeAndre Bembry, some of these young guys, talented guys, and obviously Schroeder to pair on and move forward. Final record standings prediction for them, coming from me, 23-59. I have them 14th in the Eastern Conference. Again, I just think these guys are going to really try to bottom out in 2017-18. I don't see them being much of a factor in the Eastern Conference like they have been for so many years now. That's just the way it goes when you have such an exodus there. And clearly it was a concerted effort on new GM Travis Schlenk to shed Dwight Howard. They had no interest in bringing back a 32-year-old Millsap to continue pairing with a now just 24-year-old Schroeder. So they're going young, and you like to see that, but it's going to be a tough season for Hawks fans to get through. Thank you everyone for tuning in to the Boston Celtics Newsfeed's 2017-18 NBA preview. Again, you can get more analysis on the CLNSradio.com site. We'll be running these every day leading up to the opener. Be sure to subscribe to the Celtics Newsfeed, rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, and of course the CLNS Media Network's mobile podcast app. Tune back in tomorrow when I speak with our writer David Ostrowsky about his preview for the Brooklyn Nets. Once again, this is Newsfeed Manager Mike Walsh signing off.